So moving on to Athens. Athens, Greece was a cool experience. I took a flight from Rome to Athens, Greece. It was about 2 hours. The journey to get to the plane was so crazy. It was ridiculous. We all had to wait for a bus, and then we had to take the bus to the boarding gate. It was so much work, and I'm so happy that I packed light. My bags were still heavy though, so it was a lot of walking around. I had to carry the backpack, which was like 15 to 20 pounds, and it was just a lot of work. It was very tiring. Here we are at the boarding gate, going up some stairs to get to the plane. It was a lot of work. I'm happy that I didn't carry my carry-on, but I still have my book bag and I still have my Vera Bradley tote bag. In my research, no one talked about how much flights of stairs you had to go up with carry-ons. They never mentioned you had to take a bus. So it was a little bit surprising to me, but luckily I kind of already knew that it was gonna be a lot of traveling, but I didn't think that it would be this much. Landed in Athens and had to take another bus to go to baggage claim and leave the airport. When I got to Athens, I was like, I'm gonna take the train from the airport to my Airbnb. Like, how hard can it be? It can't be that hard. There's actually a train in Athens that travels directly from the airport into whatever train stations you're going to. The Airbnb that I booked, it was nearby the train station. So I was like, let's take the train to the Airbnb. The flight was only 2 hours, so I had enough energy to take the train and save 50 euros on a cab. And I had my phone, so I was using my phone to help guide me on where I was going and what stop it was. And it was really easy. I mean, the signs were big and they were on the background of the station. It's not like in New York City where they have the names of the train stations on the columns. Like, how can you see what stop you are on if the name of the stop is on the side of the columns and not on the background? Which was like, okay, that's a difference right there. So I took the train and I booked the flight to land for rush hour. I wouldn't recommend that because when I got on the train in Athens, I sat down and so much people just started getting on the train. It was like 6:30ish. It was a little bit packed. Like, when it was time for me to get off the train, I was like, how am I gonna get off the train? Because it was packed. But I got off the train. I mean, I was like, excuse me, pardon, like, you know, I did it. But would I recommend traveling during rush hour? No. With suitcases? No. It was a little bit of a lot. They have luggage racks on the train, but I was not putting my stuff on the luggage rack. I was so tired. Like, I was falling asleep on the train. It was like an hour ride from the airport to my Airbnb. When I got to my stop and I walked to the Airbnb, I was like, okay, the streets are a little bit crazy in Athens. Like, the streets were very narrow and it was very hard to walk on them with luggage. So the Airbnb was so sick. I mean, it was like nothing I've ever experienced before. I mean, the details, like the sheets were wrinkle free. I'm talking about wrinkle free sheets and a super booming AC because in Athens it was actually hotter than Rome. The shower was so nice. It was this open concept in the apartment with these little stairs, and natural sunlight would come in. It felt like I was taking a shower outside. The shower was so spacious. It felt so natural. It felt so big. I definitely enjoyed my showers here. The weather in Athens, it was a little bit hot. It was a little bit like, no, it's booming a little bit. Yeah, it was like 85, 90. It was windy though, because you're in between mountains, so there was a lot of wind, but it was nice. The weather was cool. It was like I need to bring a water bottle outside kind of vibe. The Airbnb was so sick. I mean, I had this great view. It was nice and windy, and I couldn't have asked for anything better. I stayed kind of in an area where there were like hotels, like the Stanley was nearby, and some of the, smaller kind of hotels were nearby. I stayed close to the city center in Athens. So I was going to the grocery store in Athens. I was buying like my own coffee. I didn't have any Greek coffee because I didn't want to mess up my stomach. The cappuccino in Greece, it was cool. It was alright. It wasn't out of this world. I stayed in Greece for 4 days, and when I landed the next day, I was supposed to do a boat tour to go island hopping, and I was like, nah, I can't make it. Like, I mean, in Rome, I was doing tons of walking. I mean, my feet were like, they weren't swollen, but they definitely hurted, and I was like, nah. And I was trying to be cute with like some black Margielas. They were comfortable, but I did have to break them in, which I should have done before the trip, but I was like, nah, because then they're gonna look old. I really broke them in Rome, doing 3,000 steps per day. And no, I was doing like 13,000 steps. Hell no, I was doing more than that. I was doing like 30,000. Yes, I was doing like 30,000 steps in Rome. I'm about to check. I can't even check. Hold on. I was doing like 25 to 30,000 steps a day, and I was burning like almost 2,700 calories. I was burning that pasta off. That's what I was doing. I was walking and I was burning all that pasta, all that wine, all those Cosmos. I was burning that off because I was eating a lot. My body felt just crazy just from my backpack, carrying my backpack on the train, you know, just that. It was a lot. So I was like, nah, we're gonna rest today. And then I decided to just go get a massage and relax and really just let my body rest. The masseuse told me, like, girl, you have tons of knots on your shoulders. And I was like, I know. I planned a lot of excursions and I knew the boat was gonna be a little bit too much for me because I was like, it's gonna be hot and then I'm gonna be tired. But I was like, nah, I could do it. I got this. Like a boat, I'm gonna be fine. And then plus it was like unlimited food, unlimited wine. I was like, nah, I'm gonna make it. I didn't make it. I was tired. I slept in and I didn't get a refund or anything, but that's fine. That's another thing. When I did the Rome excursions, I was waking up pretty early. My body adjusted pretty quickly to the time difference. That next day in Athens, after I landed, I definitely slept in and I just went and explored the city. It was pretty chill. I saw this bracelet making store, so I stopped in and I decided to make myself a bracelet. It came out so cute. The food in Athens, I mean, it was Mediterranean food, so it was like gyros. I mean, I didn't eat any gyros, which I kind of like, I should have, but I didn't. I had spinach and feta pie. I mean, the food in Greece, it was just a little bit weird. Like, it wasn't that it was weird, but it's just not something that I was used to. I had like Vietnamese food. I mean, but I had calamari. I had a lot of calamari. The calamari was to die for. It was so good. Like, yeah. And then at this one place, I had like baked squid with like a pea puree sauce. It was good. I liked it. I mean, it was nice. I had like burgers with potatoes. It was so flavorful. And I had that on my trip to Delphi to visit Apollo's Temple. My second full day in Athens, I visited Apollo's Temple. For those of you that don't know, I was actually having twin boys, and Apollo, twin A, he didn't make it at birth. He was born with Poseidon, but the doctors couldn't tell me why he passed away when I gave birth, which was pretty sad. It was pretty disheartening. And comment down below if you want a video about my pregnancy experience and then just losing a baby. So at the time, it was like I was welcoming a life. I was welcoming Poseidon's life, but at the same time, I had to mourn Apollo's life. I was like in between. I was like, do I mourn? But I can't really mourn because I have this new life to take care of, to cherish, and to really love. So yes, and their dad actually chose their names. I was just like Poseidon. I didn't know nothing about Greek mythology. I didn't know anything about Greeks. And so their dad chose their names, which was pretty special to me to be visiting the temples. And in a way, I felt that I was really honoring them. And I was really honoring Apollo, who is no longer here. And Apollo's temple, it was nice. I really didn't know too much about it. So I did have a guide, and they picked me up from a hotel nearby, my Airbnb, which was nice because I didn't have to travel. So they came and picked me up on the big tour bus. Then we picked up some more people and then we headed out there. The location was a little bit far from Athens. The Temple of Apollo was in Delphi, 2.5 hours away. The bus had Wi-Fi and the bus had AC. It was comfortable, like it was nice. It didn't feel like 2 hours, 2.5 hours, kind of like going there and back. had like this beautiful stop. It was so nice just to see the mountains. Tons of cats, tons of cats just in Greece, just in general. Like there's tons of cats in Greece. And so I did Apollo's Temple, and you know, the guide was just explaining that these places were places of worships that the Athenians did and created for these gods. It was basically almost like a church. The Athenians, they brought gifts to honor the gods. They had different events. They worshiped in the temple. Basically, they had like a little treasury where they would put the gifts that they would bring for Apollo, and it was just nice. This butterfly landed on me, and it just represented so much to me. I felt that it was definitely a message from my baby Apollo, who passed, and was letting me know that, you know, he's here with me. And it was such a special moment to me. I'll never forget it. So I visited Apollo's Temple, and then my last day I did the sunset tour at Poseidon's Temple. It was so nice. Like, there were a lot of people. I did get some good pictures. I did get some good videos. I had a good time. Seeing the sunset was just, it was a once in a lifetime experience to be at Poseidon's Temple and actually be seeing the sun set on a high hill. The view there was very nice. It was a beautiful experience, and I really wish that I could have brought Poseidon there to see, like, so that we could have experienced it together. But I did send him pictures. I called him on FaceTime, and in the end he was just like, okay, that's cool. Like, you know, he's a kid, so he doesn't really understand the historical importance or value behind it, but he was just like, oh, that's cool, and went about playing basketball. So it was really nice. Athens was nice. I definitely will be returning. It was beautiful. The next time I go to Athens, Greece, I'm definitely going to the beach. They had some beautiful, beautiful beaches with clear water. I didn't have the opportunity to go and do it, but next time I go, I'm definitely gonna do it. Okay, so from Athens, Greece, I decided to go to Santorini. Hello. And Santorini was really my break. Like, it was really like, okay, girl, you're not doing anything.